I've been an ice cream truck driver for over 4 years now. Before this, I was an elementary school teacher, dedicated to my students and the joy of teaching. But the pandemic hit hard, and the school where I worked went bankrupt. Many employees, including myself, were laid off. I was lost, unsure of what to do next. One day, a friend invited me for lunch and offered me a job on her ice cream truck. Desperate for income, I accepted, telling her I'd only work for 5 months to save up before returning to teaching. However, after those 5 months, I found unexpected joy in my new job. Seeing the kids' smiles whenever they saw me coming brought me happiness I hadn't felt in a long time. Among the kids, there was a young boy named Mark. We got close quickly. Every other day, I would go to his neighborhood to sell ice cream. One Monday, I arrived later than usual. It was already past 5 in the afternoon and starting to get dark. In their neighborhood, there was a pavilion building where I always parked my truck, but it was closed for public use due to ongoing construction. I thought it would be good once it was finished. More people would hang out there, which meant more profit for me. As I was parking, I backed my truck against the wall of the pavilion like I always did. I felt I hit something at the back. I was about to check it, but before I opened my truck door, I saw a horde of children coming towards me. I decided to check later instead. After serving all the children, I went home around 6 p.m. It was strange that Mark didn't buy from me that day. On Wednesday, I returned to Mark's neighborhood. As usual, the kids came racing to get their favorite ice cream. After serving them, I glanced at the tree across my truck and saw Mark. I knew it was him from afar. He was the only chubby kid in the neighborhood who always wore a cap. I waited for him to approach me, but he just stood there. It felt strange because Mark was always the first kid I would serve ice cream to, but now he was just standing at a distance. Friday came, and I went back to the neighborhood again. I saw Mark's cousin James and said, "Hi, James. How's it going? I didn't see you last Wednesday, and how's your cousin Mark? He hasn't shown up since Monday." What he said devastated me. Mark died from an accident. We just buried him yesterday. That's why I've been gone for a few days, James said. It was Friday night, and I still couldn't believe what happened to Mark. Suddenly, while I was lying in bed with a lamp on and thinking about Mark, I heard the voice of a kid weeping. I thought, where is it coming from? There are no kids living in our apartment building. When I glanced at the corner of my bedroom, I saw a figure standing there. My eyes opened wide with fear. It was Mark. Now he was standing at the foot of my bed, weeping with tears streaming down his face. I asked, "Mark, what do you want from me?" I stammered. His face changed, and he looked angry this time. I was scared. I didn't know why he was mad at me, but then I thought maybe he was mad because I wasn't there when he needed me. Saturday morning, I went to his mom to talk about Mark's ghost appearing to me the previous night. She said the police were still investigating his death. The following Monday, 1 week after Mark's death, I was back in the neighborhood. As I parked my truck, I saw an officer approaching. I greeted the officer, thinking they were still investigating what happened to Mark. But then what the officer said changed my life forever. He was arresting me for killing Mark. "Oh, please, Mr. Officer. I love Mark like my own son. I would never think of hurting him, let alone kill him," I pleaded. At the police station, they showed me a CCTV recording. I saw my truck driving down the neighborhood and, while parking at the pavilion building, I saw that I unintentionally struck Mark while backing up my truck. Mark came running when he saw me coming and accidentally tripped on a piece of lumber from the construction site. It hit me. I recalled the day I hit something at the back of my truck. When I got home, I checked if my truck got bent or damaged, but what I saw was a brownish stain which I mistook for chocolate ice cream. Now, in the dark confines of my prison cell, Mark's weeping and laughter haunt me. Each night, his spirit torments me, reminding me of my unintentional crime. The ghost of the boy I cherished has turned my life into an endless nightmare. The walls of my cell close in on me, and I find myself unable to escape the memories of that fateful day. Mark's figure appears in the shadows, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and anger. I try to apologize, to explain that it was an accident, but his spectral form only grows more menacing. The other inmates whisper about the strange occurrences in my cell, the ghostly sounds that echo through the night. I feel myself slipping into madness, the weight of guilt crushing my spirit. Days turn into weeks, and the haunting only intensifies. I see Mark in my dreams, his face contorted with pain and betrayal. I hear his voice, a constant reminder of my failure to protect him. The prison walls, once a physical barrier, now feel like a prison for my soul, trapping me in an unending cycle of torment. Mark's presence grows stronger, his manifestations more frequent. I see him in the reflections of my cell's small, grimy window, in the puddles of water on the floor, and even in the eyes of the guards who seem to avoid my gaze. The nights are the worst. As the darkness envelopes my cell, the air grows cold, and I can feel Mark's presence intensify. His laughter echoes in the silence, a chilling sound that sends shivers down my spine. His weeping fills the room, a sorrowful reminder of the life I took away. I hear whispers, fragments of words that seem to seep into my very soul, accusing me, condemning me. One night, as I lay on the thin, uncomfortable mattress, I felt a cold hand brush against my cheek. I jolted awake, my heart pounding in my chest. There, at the foot of my bed, stood Mark. His eyes were hollow, his face pale and gaunt. He stared at me, his expression a mix of sadness and rage. "Why?" he whispered, his voice echoing in the small cell. "Why didn't you save me?" Tears streamed down my face as I tried to reach out to him, but my hand passed through his ghostly form. "I'm sorry, Mark. I'm so sorry," I cried, my voice breaking. But my apologies seemed to fall on deaf ears. His image flickered and vanished, leaving me alone in the darkness once more. The guards eventually noticed my deteriorating state. They sent a priest to my cell, hoping to cleanse the evil they believed had taken root there. The priest's prayers filled the cell, a stark contrast to the haunting silence that usually prevailed. For a moment, I felt a flicker of hope, a possibility of redemption. But Mark's spirit was relentless. Even the holy words seemed to fuel his anger, and his manifestations grew more violent. One evening, as the priest recited his prayers, Mark appeared, his form more solid and terrifying than ever before. He screamed, a blood-curdling sound that seemed to shake the very walls of the prison. Objects in my cell were thrown about, and the temperature dropped to an unbearable chill. The priest fled, his faith shattered by the sheer malevolence of Mark's spirit. As the weeks turned into months, I resigned myself to my fate. I knew I would never escape Mark's ghost, never find peace. The guilt and sorrow consumed me, leaving me a shell of the person I once was. The other inmates avoided me, fearing the curse they believed I carried. The guards watched me with wary eyes, unsure of what to do with the haunted man in cell 13. Now, as I sit in the cold, dark cell, Mark's weeping and laughter are my constant companions. They drive me to the brink of insanity, a relentless reminder of the life I took and the innocence I destroyed. My life, once filled with hope and purpose, has become a twisted nightmare, and I fear I will never find peace in this world or the next. The ghost of the boy I cherished has turned my existence into an endless torment, and I know, deep down, that this is my punishment. For the rest of my days, I am condemned to live with the haunting echoes of my unintended crime, forever tormented by the spirit of Mark, the boy I couldn't save.